Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Vortex, where lies and falsehoods are trapped and exposed. I'm Michael Voris. One of the hallmarks of democracy in the American Republic has been the right to free speech, enumerated, of course, in the First Amendment. So important to safeguard it is, in fact, that when the city of Baltimore, working behind the scenes with the bishops, tried to cancel Church Militant's rally against the U.S. bishops covering up sex abuse, we had to take the city to court. We won the right to hold the rally in what's known as the preliminary injunction phase, and now we are engaged in the actual case. It's no exaggeration to say that Church Militant scored a tremendous victory against the city, both on the trial level and in the U.S. Fourth Circuit, one step below the U.S. Supreme Court. A blow to those forces trying to squash not just freedom of speech, but free speech in the name of religious freedom. The bill for that so far totals more than $800,000 in direct outlays. It put quite the dent in our budget, as you might imagine. But some things are worth fighting for, as you hope the costs you have to absorb come out later in the wash. And there's a great irony here in that Church Militant is fighting at great cost to preserve religious freedom of speech while the nation's bishops do next to nothing, more accurately, accomplish nothing in this arena. Case in point, a free speech killer law is sailing through the Michigan legislature at this very moment. We've spoken about this a few times recently here at Church Militant since we are in Michigan and therefore more familiar than most with its deadly consequences for free speech. But make no mistake, once it passes here, and it will because the Marxists control the entire government here, other deep blue states will be using it as a template in their locales. It's dressed up as an anti-hate speech law, but not a single expert who has looked at this in depth has not seen very clearly what it is. It's an anti-free speech law. The point is to get you to shut up out of fear of prison, fines, and being sued. And yes, all that is part of the soon-to-be enacted law starting here in Michigan, but coming to a blue state near you pretty soon. Which, getting back to the bishops, is very curious because to date, the Michigan Conference of Catholic Bishops has remained completely silent on this soon-to-be Michigan law. You would think, at least in theory, Catholic leaders would be storming the barricades to protect freedom of speech, especially religious speech. But no, nothing but crickets from the bishop's corner. I mean, it's not like a law is being pushed through to extend the statute of limitations on filing sex abuse cases by victims. When that was going on in multiple states, the bishops spent more time in court than in their cathedrals trying to defeat it. The complicity of the bishops in promoting this kind of legislation through their silence is a furtherance of their part of the destruction of the way of American life. The law will take dead aim politically conservative free speech, bam, especially that of politically conservative Christians and Jews, as well as other religious groups who are often vocal about the demise of American morals and refuse to go along with the pronoun nonsense as just one example. The Marxists are the ones who engineered the demise of morality in the U.S. to destabilize the family in order to weaken the republic. And decades ago, they enlisted the help of key leaders in the church, and the steamroll effect has been devastating. We already know the bishops use the money of the faithful to undermine the faith, but they also use the money of Americans to undermine America. They cannot challenge these atrocities of law because they feed at the trough of government largesse. In short, they are bought and paid for and wholly owned. So I've decided to take this fight to them, the political fight, as well as the spiritual one. As a reminder, on Thursday, July 20th, the Deposit of Faith Coalition will sponsor first, a prayer rally outside the headquarters of the Bishops' Conference in D.C. at 11 a.m., and that's going to go to 11:45. Then, starting at 1 o'clock, the coalition will be hosting a large press conference with politically conservative media outlets, bishops are going to hate that, to explain to them how the bishops are using U.S. tax dollars to help destroy America by pushing the Democrats' agenda under the guise of social justice. We'll have 4 expert speakers making presentations in each of the following areas where the bishops have been complicit in undermining America. First, the illegal immigration issue, along with the climate change issue, and being pro-gun control, and going along with anti-free speech initiatives that impact directly on religious speech. Church Militant will be live streaming all of it beginning at 12:30 and wrapping up our coverage at 3 p.m. Eastern. All that information and further details are available by just clicking on the provided link. This is the first time the event ever of its kind in a Catholic world. A press conference highlighting all of this with non-bishop controlled media covering it, and it's high time someone pushed back against all of this nonsense by them. The bishops embraced Saul Alinsky way back, and it's been a nonstop love affair ever since for decades now. And almost no one has told that story except Church Militant, and we told it years ago. Now we're seeing all over America the fulfillment of that wicked alliance as the nation crumbles under the weight of communism and Marxism, with the bishops being the ones to step on the gas under the guise of charity. They're so charitable. This is a monumental effort on the part of us involved, and it's taking this on has a hefty price tag, as you could possibly imagine. So to help us financially with this much-needed endeavor and make a donation, please just click on the provided link where you can make your tax-deductible gift to help choke off the bishop's money supply. And remember, money supply of your tax dollars. There are 3 avenues where the bishops can be hit financially. First, they can simply have their funding cut off by Congress, which should have happened decades ago, where various appropriations committees shovel hundreds of millions of dollars to them each year. It adds up to billions since they started getting it. Second, the IRS code could be amended so that the bishops are required to file public tax returns, known as 990s, just like every other religious nonprofit. Currently, they're exempt from that, so it's nearly impossible to track the mountains of tax dollars just handed over to them. And that's wrong. Americans should be able to know exactly how and where their money is being spent, no matter who's getting it, with a collar or mitre on or not. And third, their tax-exempt status could simply be revoked. They're deeply involved in politicking, and only for the Democrats, and that kind of blatant political engineering just runs afoul of the entire spirit of the tax-exempt status. If you're in that neck of the woods, meaning Washington, D.C., please come to the prayer rally in front of the bishop's headquarters on Thursday, July 20th at 11 a.m. Spectators are also invited to attend the press conference. Remember, the press are the people going to be asking the questions. They're not spectators. And that's at the National Press Club at 1 p.m. Eastern. And seating for spectators will be on a first-come, first-served basis. We invite you to come and just watch an actual press conference where the truth gets to be told for once, not like in the White House. For those who cannot attend, again, you can watch the entire coverage, wall-to-wall, right here on Church Militant, as we live stream this historic challenge to the U.S. bishop's destruction of the American Republic. So please donate whatever you can to help us turn this thing around. Remember, hashtag defund the bishops. It's time to defund the U.S. bishops. God love you. I'm Michael Voris.